Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I am your co-host, Mr. William Burtiz, and today we got some sweet information for you today. I think you guys are going to really enjoy the show. But before we get started with our special guest, let's introduce our co-host. First, we have Mr. Mike, the Money Guy.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? It's Mike, the Money Guy, CEO of Decade Financial Solutions, your one-stop shop for all things credit and money related. As always, guys, it's another wonderful Tuesday. I love being here and can't wait to jump into this topic on Let's Talk About It.
Let's get it. And next to Mr. Mike, the Money Guy, we have Mr. Clinton all the way from Trinidad, James.
Yes, this is Clinton James, your local real estate broker here in San Diego, all the way, as you said, from Trinidad, but transplant here in San Diego. If you need to know anything about real estate here in San Diego, give me a call. When to buy, what's the market look like? Definitely we'll find the answer for you. And often said, often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated. He's closing.
Yes,
he just signed a deal today, put the family in a home, so he's closing. So give him a call.
Yes, sir.
And then we have Mr. Terrell, hails from DC Simmons.
Yes. Although I got my Nigerian vibe on today, you know how that goes. Your local career and business strategist, reminding you do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money, let the money chase you. Yee!
Ooh, there you go. Now, Terrell, you find some gems. Man.
You know,
Tell the audience who you have with us today.
Well, I'm the career strategist, so. A lot of us have been finding ourselves in some entanglements during COVID. So I had to get us a relationship strategist so that we can help us out in this time of COVID. You done got sick of your spouse. You learned some things that you ain't know. Well, this is the woman that you need to see, Marshaun O, who is a life and relationship strategist. She helps women who are in long-term relationships and or married to go from feeling disconnected and unloved to feeling understood, all while creating deeper and intimate connections in their relationships. Marshaun understands what the average person's looking for in the meaningful, loving relationship normally goes through, especially when it comes to what they want, need, and desire. She knows that what's holding women back from creating their love life. Marshaun combines all her data and research and shares simple tips and strategies with her clients so they can stop being an obstacle in their own life and create an extraordinary relationship. Woo! I might have to hire you myself. You limiting yourself to just women. Us men, we need that too. Help a brother out, sister. I know. Will had a whole bunch of questions for us. I'm gonna let him go eventually, but I must say, when I first met this young lady, she gave me a whole bunch of advice and tips, and she was writing her book at the time. Was it done yet, or were you still writing it? I can't remember when we met.
Honestly, I don't remember. I know it's done now. It's done now.
and for those of you guys that know, she has a relationship bootcamp 101 on Facebook. So join that if you haven't joined it yet. But give it up for Marshaun. Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna just dive right into the meat and potatoes, as they say.
Let's jump in it, dog. We got an hour, so we
got an hour, and there's a lot to untangle. There's a lot to untangle this entanglement. But I do think the tip that you just recorded not too long ago about the 15 questions that you need to ask your partner before getting married, I wrote them down, and I want to start off with number one. Do you have trust issues? Now, why is this important, and why you picked that as the juggler to start off with? Do you have trust issues?
Okay. So, first of all, these were not in any particular order.
Okay.
But why did I choose this one? Just period. How about that?
Okay.
It's because most people don't ask the questions that are going to get them right to the meat and right to the center, right to the core of what they're asking. A lot of people, specifically women, I love you guys, I'm one myself, but a lot of times we talk in circles instead of getting straight to the point. So men like it straight to the point. I know this, I learned this, I teach this. Get straight to the point so you can get the answer that you really seek instead of going round.
And make sure you add the claps at the end.
I love you right now. I love you.
So how do you see this showing up in COVID right now with trust issues developing during COVID? We had what was it, a counselor on like a month ago talking about how the rates of domestic violence has gone up. So do you think it's because of the trust issues, and how is that showing up in COVID based on your experience or what you think might be happening?
Okay, so I don't think that all of this happening, whether it's the domestic violence or the trust issues, just started showing up. It's just now we have nowhere to run away to. Most of us are confined, unless you are an essential worker, but most of us are confined to our houses, our homes, our apartments, with our spouses, with our children, and we had outlets before. And now the house seems to be really small because everybody is in it at one time for hours and hours on end. So with that being said, I don't think that any of the trust issues or the domestic violence or any of the negative parts that go to the relationship start right here. It was ongoing. It was things that they did not address, some baggage, some things that kept sweeping up under the rug, and now it's punching everybody in the face that's in the household.
So how do we have these conversations? I mean, because to quote Erykah Badu, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my.
You know what? As I teach, literally, you just got to have the tough conversation, because the more you sweep it under the rug, the taller the rug is going to get, and everybody going to start tripping over this rug. And also, it's going to keep the disconnection in your relationship. So if your idea is to come closer to your spouse, to your partner, if you're wanting that deep intimacy, if you want that deep interaction as well as connection, then you have to have these difficult conversations or tough conversations, because most people don't realize by having the tough conversations, you're actually creating deeper bonds. You're creating more trust. You're actually coming toward one another instead of going away from each other, especially if you're making the environment a safe one, meaning I can say whatever I need to say, whether you want to hear it or not. You're not judging me. You're not bringing it up later on. You're not throwing it in my face. You're not sharing it with everybody outside of our home. This is our relationship. We're building our relationship. So all of that together is just something that has to happen. Having the tough conversations is never going to be something that you want to do. But if you want to get deeper, if you want to really have that blissful relationship, and what I like to call is a relationship where you're a part of the top 1% of couples that have extraordinary relationships, they don't shy away or run away from the tough conversations. You have to have them in order to get to that next level. And even stay connected as well.
I had a question, Marshaun. So as a man, when I hear the I word, intimacy, I immediately think of the bedroom and the horizontal mambo. And that's what you're describing right now, right?
Okay.
So can you elaborate for all the men out there, and even some of the women who might be a little bit confused? I know women think about that as well. What are you talking about when you refer to intimacy?
So intimacy is, sex is a part of intimacy, but it's not the only thing. So it is the deep conversations, it's the cuddling. Okay, so basically, without me going down the whole laundry list, is however you need to be loved in your relationship. So we talk about, and I'm sure most people have heard of the 5 love languages. So if you are showing your spouse or partner the love that they need it, the way that they need it, instead of the way that you want to give it to them, then that is intimacy. So it could be quality times, it could be giving gifts, it could be physical touch, whatever it is for you, as long as you express it to your partner instead of thinking that they're a mind reader. You have to say these things verbally and even give them a chance to actually express it for a period of time, because a lot of times we get ticked off when our spouse starts in the beginning and then falls away, and then you have to remind them, and then they have to start it, and then they fall away. you have to realize that it's not a part of their love language, it's your love language. So if you want it, then you have to ask for it again until it gets embedded into them to do it automatically for you.
That's wow, that's deep. So you're basically saying that, like, as a partner, it's my responsibility to, one, make sure that my needs are met, but two, be willing to communicate that to my partner more than once.
Yes, more than once.
Yeah. So like if they don't get it the first time, continue and so on and so forth until it gets to a point that
it's automatic.
Okay. Because I think that that's a big misconception. I think that a lot of times when we get into these situations, you know, we think about, oh, well, we're going to have the conversation, like not plural, when it really is conversations that we need to continue to have in order to grow closer together, is what you're describing.
Absolutely. And see, most people don't understand that when you're doing this, a lot of times, specifically in the beginning, a lot of times you're doing it to please your partner, to please your spouse. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it to get the reward on the other end. So if you want to keep getting the reward, then you have to continue the same behavior. And again, because it's not something that is innate in you, it is now you're learning to change these habits, to change the old behaviors. It's going to take practice for you to do. So having one conversation, please get that out of your head. Please stop being frustrated. Stop being ticked off and mad when you come to your partner. Well, we talked about this. How come you can't get that? That's not the way it works. That's just not the way it works with people in general.
So is there a timeline that men or women should have? Because what I hear is like, I always gotta tell you this. How long I've been telling you this? I've been telling you this for the past 15 years. You still haven't got it through your thick head.
Oh, man.
Okay, so the real answer to that is, unfortunately, that person, that spouse, whether man or female, has not made it a priority to meet their spouse's needs in that way. It's not important enough for them to suck it up or really to just, whether they need to schedule it or whatever it is, to remind them to say, you know what, I actually need to show up. If I want to be better, if I want to have this really great relationship, this extraordinary relationship, then I have to do something different in order to get different results. And so if that means writing it down, leaving yourself a little sticky note, whatever it is, whatever it takes for you to get what you want. And if what you want is that sex all the time or just the intimacy, then you have to give so she can feel love. Or for the women out there, you have to give for him to feel love, but it has to be reciprocated. If it's always one person doing it, that gets old too. So as far as to answer your question, is there a time frame? It's really all dependent on the person, because what you can handle, maybe I can't, and vice versa. That's dependent on each person, on each relationship.
Fred wants that one of the best ways to keep a good marriage going, in addition to communication, is that men feel a huge need to feel respected. Yes, we loved, but we really want to feel respected. Where on the other hand,
feel love too, though.
Want to be respected, but they really desire love. So, you know, can you kind of explain about the, you know, how what men should do to show that they love their ladies, and what ladies can do to show that they respect their men, to make sure that we're reciprocating what we want from one another?
Okay, so this one is a little bit complicated because each person may see something different. So the best answer that I can give for this one is to have a conversation about what love actually looks like to you, and then what respect looks like for you. So whether you write down a laundry list or one or two things, that way you understand how to show up, how to respect your man, and how to love your woman. And to Mike's point, you're right. Both men and women want love and respect. However, the respect level for men is much higher than it is for love. They actually had a study out there many years ago, but the point is that when they asked the question to men specifically, would they rather feel loved versus respected? Respect won, like, I think it was like 75% of men, 100 went toward respect versus being loved. So it's not that you don't want love. Of course you want love, but love for men specifically is in the form of respect.
You know what? That's an interesting point, because I remember one of the things you had said, you was talking about if, as far as going back to intimacy, if you're not being loved the way you want to be loved, whether it be in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom, that you have to really be gentle how you educate your partner on this, but you have to educate them, because if you bruise a man's ego, then that might not lead you to the results that you wanted. So that I just had to throw that out there. Go ahead. I'm gonna let my co-host jump in.
So my question is this, because a lot of people have a misconception about what love is in a relationship, because everybody's perception of love is going to be different if we ask each one of us here. Now, for me, I've come to understand that love is more of an action than a feeling.
Yes.
In the beginning, it's all feelings, but as you grow in a relationship, like 20 years into a relationship, it's more of actions now. So, I mean, break that down for me to kind of understand, because that feeling of love does go away after a while. So what are some of the things you would advise in terms of actions? Because I know the 5 love languages, you mentioned that. What are some of the things would you advise in terms of actions that you see in relationships later on in relationships that we should be doing to enhance that connection?
So one of the things I will say is that we make it more complicated than what it is. And so whatever you did to get her, or for the ladies, whatever you did to get him, you need to continue doing that stuff. So for instance, if you are a person that likes to go out, meaning just out of the house, not necessarily to the club, but just out of the house, you like going out to eat, amusement parks, travel, etc. And then once you get the guy, all of a sudden you're a homebody. It's like, well, you did a bait and switch. So you have to show up.
Good old cloak and dagger, huh?
Yeah. No, that's
my girl. My girl. She putting the distance and social distancing.
Right. So however it is that you're showing up in the beginning,
right,
which is why you have to be authentic in the beginning and not just doing stuff so you can get the guy or get the girl, knowing good and well that's not who you truly are. So if you are, in a perfect world, we're all showing up the way that we really are. So in a perfect world, we're all showing up that way. You have to continue to do those things. So if you're a person that buys flowers, then continue to do that. If you're writing love notes, continue to do that, right? So continue to do a lot of stuff that you did in the beginning to continue on. Now, what you were speaking about, Clinton, earlier is the honeymoon phase. That absolutely does go away. And it's different for each person, but it can last up to 3 years. But at some point, it's still going to fade away, and the real relationship is going to show up. And you just have to find ways to still make it fun and exciting. And a big thing about relationships that a lot of people don't understand is you have to keep the fun in the relationship. You have to keep the fun in the relationship. If it's boring, if it's stale, we all get wondering eyes and, somebody else is looking good. If you don't want that, that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. But if you don't want that, for the most part, you have to be you, show up, do the things that you need to do, but keep it fun. Keep the laughter going. Don't be, so stiff and everything. So those are the main things that I would tell you to do, Clinton, for sure.
Got a question from our live audience who's following the show.
Sure.
How do you communicate accountability without bruising the ego?
How do you communicate accountability without bruising the ego? You know what? You have to get to a point where your spouse, your partner knows that you don't mean any harm. So like you can, I firmly believe that you can say whatever it is that you need to say. Is how you deliver the message. So it's not necessarily what you want to say, right? And bruising the ego. It's just, you don't have to go to him or her, whomever, and accuse or blame. It's just, you know what? For example, babe, I really like it when you open up the car door for me. I mean, I know that's a simple example, but the point is, I really like it when you do X, fill in the blank, whatever X is. And I like it. The reason why I like that you do this is because it makes me feel this way. Whenever you kind of frame things like that, then you have a better chance of him or her continuing to do that stuff for you over and over again, because we all like to get that positive, just saying, oh, thank you. Or
then I was going to add that positive affirmation or
reinforcement, right?
Reinforcement,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We all want that. So if you continue to do those things, then yes, just you can say it again. You can say whatever you want to say. I truly believe this, and I even do this with my husband. I say whatever I want to say. It's just how I deliver it. The delivery. That's what you really have to watch out for, is the delivery.
Yeah.
And that means that I have to take responsibility as the communicator, that I can't always just say, this is just the way that I speak, or this is the way that I do. Because I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I struggle with that. I'm brash. I'm very in your face about it, and you know, unapologetically sometimes. My boy over here compared me to Farrakhan the other night when we was having our little after-hour session. So I mean, clearly I'm a little bit of a radical. You know, I'm a little emotions on the sleeve a little bit. So yeah, so I mean, I'm really learning how to dial that in and really codify my message to.
And Marshaun, I'm saying this with love. This is why he the only single one on here. Just kidding.
Hey, shots fired. Hey, I'm gonna put myself on the bus.
But here's the thing.
I'll be back.
Here's the thing that I've noticed from just men in general. That's just the way that you guys communicate with one another. And unfortunately, you guys don't turn it off when you're talking to your woman. So we need for you to be a lot softer with us. My husband actually struggles with this with me, and I'll just call him out right there. Not again, my delivery is I just like, babe, softer. That's actually what I say, babe, softer.
Because you know
you're not talking to a man. I'm not a dude. I'm not one of your homeboys. Y'all men, again, you get straight to the point, but you also talk harder to one another. Women, we're softer. We're, you know, feelings get hurt a lot faster, etc. So if you can remember to just, I'm not talking to one of my boys. I'm not talking to my boy. You can soften it up. Still give it to her, but soften
Mike,
it up.
Mike, I'm glad you brought that up, and Marshaun, you brought that up too, because men speak to each other differently. We talk to each other differently. You know, we're constantly ragging on one another, making fun of one another, just doing all types of, you know, crazy stuff. And we were talking to our ladies who we're with, and she asked us a question and respond in a brash way. It's not intentional. It's not like, oh, I'm mad at you. It's just, that's just how I respond. And then downhill. It's like, oh, like,
boy, you're gonna be on the couch tonight, brother.
Yeah.
Bored. About to sleep on the couch. All right, so
got him.
I want to get into some of these 15 questions you should ask your spouse before you get married, because we could go all day. Number 2, what are your deep, dark secrets? Now, why we need to go there? Why we gotta take skeletons out the closet?
Uh-oh.
In my humble opinion, you should do this. Obviously, you're not doing it with everybody. You're doing it with the person that you feel like you're going to take it to the next level with, whether it's long-term relationship or marriage.
That's a tough one.
What's that?
I said that's a tough one.
But here's the thing: you're bringing in the trust, Clinton. This is where the trust is coming in.
Right.
But it's also you have to understand that is where the deeper connection comes from. You being the vulnerable, you sharing this thing, and if she can't accept you for that, then you know that she's not for you. I know that that's scarier or like easier said than done. But me and my husband actually did do this. So another thing that I'll preface to say is, any and everything that I'm saying, that I preach, that I teach, that I tell my clients to do, I have done the majority of it. Maybe not everything, but I've done the majority of it.
So here's where I got the issue. There's some things I just don't need to know. Like if she had a vulnerable time where she slept with Tyrone Biggums down the street, I don't need to know that. That was before me. That was before my time. I don't need that visual in my head.
I want a full inventory check. I want full credibility.
You know, I don't need to know about.
I want to see a full ledger. I want dates, locations.
I want the Carfax.
I don't want the Carfax report. I just need to know that I'm the one and only right now. I just need to know I'm the one and only right now. I don't need the Carfax report and everything else.
Okay. So let me clarify then. Okay. Deep dark secrets to me is like the things that you literally that's gonna make you feel vulnerable. So not necessarily all the people that you slept with. Yes, that could be a deep dark secret, but I mean, like, was there some type of abuse? Was there something that literally just happened to you that made you feel a certain type of way, or it could be one of your biggest fears. It could be literally something, again, that's a deep, dark secret to you. Do you have an STD that you can't get rid of, or, you know, whatever it is for you that you quantify as a deep, dark secret, not
Gotcha.
necessarily
Right.
your history and how many people you did the thing with. No, not necessarily that.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, is there a time frame for that to happen? Because I believe like there's certain things that will come out in a relationship later on down the road. You can't just give somebody everything all at once. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're still learning about that person, you know? So the deep dark secrets, is it goes to a certain level that you reveal to you about yourself? Or do you think that it's good to actually give it piecemeal it out as you go through that relationship?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna answer that. I actually agree with both of what you're saying. So piecemealing it, and it depends. So specifically for this group of questions, I'm talking about a person that you're thinking about marrying, or again, staying with for a lifetime. So if there definitely is a time frame there, but I can't say like in 1 year, right? Because if I'm thinking about if you feeling, because we have this gut feeling, right? So if you have this gut feeling that's telling you that you want to take it to the next level, so before you propose the question or something like that, right? You want to get air it all out there so she really knows who she's lying with in the bed. But that's also going to decrease your chances of a divorce as well, because keeping the secret, and then out of the blue, it happens a lot. Out of the blue, something comes up and you either let it slip out, or one of your homeboys or somebody in your family come and let stuff slip out. And all of a sudden now there's all these extra questions of, was this a real relationship? Was this all built on lies? It's just a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with you not revealing this thing.
So I have some questions for you. You know, in regards to specifically more Black women.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. It's about to get lit. Oh, yeah. Come on, somebody. Woo! I'm ready for this. Hit him with it, Will.
So let me ask you this. Do you think you help all women, like Black and other cultures, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you think that Black women's standards are higher compared to other cultures? Like they want their man to be more, like make more money, have more prestige, you know, be able to be all these things, basically like Tupac in the suit. Do you think their standards for Black women?
I don't appreciate you capping on my boy Will Smith like that.
Compared to other cultures, because I see Black women as being the least married compared to, you know, white, Asian, Hispanic.
Okay. I'm sorry. Are you finished?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So to answer your question, I'm gonna definitely say no, not just because I'm a Black woman either.
Okay.
I think that what I mentioned earlier, one of the things, or I'm going to give you at least two reasons. The first reason is that a lot of times when you guys are harsh, meaning our Black men, you're harsh, a lot of times we come back being just as harsh, not realizing that we have the power as the woman to kind of calm everything down. So instead of just popping off, right, and coming back and arguing with you, just basically going toe to toe with you, we have an issue with not being able to control that a lot more. Versus the other Caucasian or Asian or whatever, right? They have a tendency, like I said, to kind of take it, but then their delivery of whatever they want you to do is a lot softer. What most people don't realize is that we're actually saying the exact same thing. The Black woman is just coming off harsher, right? Her delivery sucks versus somebody else, Caucasian, Asian, whatever. But they're actually saying the exact same thing. But you think that it's better because you feel more respected when it's coming from another race because she delivered it differently. The second thing that I'm gonna bring up is most things that are Black are seen as bad, wrong, ugly, and get dismissed. Black women are in that category.
True.
Well, you might expand on that. And
yeah, you're gonna have to. That's
because I hear the terms of all, successful black men like other cultures. There's colorism. Black men don't like, as dark-skinned women as they like light-skinned women. And from where I stand, from what I've seen, me and a lot of the men I've interacted, black men I've interacted, have not really said, I want to date a white woman. I only date white women. I ever heard them say, I only date light-skinned women. If you see a girl that's beautiful, she's beautiful. So, I mean, what do you think that is? Because it seems like there's a miscommunication between black men and black women, that we both want the same thing, but there's some type of disconnect.
Okay, so yes, there definitely is a disconnect. There definitely is a disconnect, but seriously, I don't want to. I try not to take it back to the slave days and how we were separated.
Hey, come with it, Marshaun.
But that's exactly where it's coming from. It's everything is being perpetuated and just continued on generation after generation. So we have where other cultures have been pinning us against one another with the colorism, and we've just been following suit with it instead of breaking it and cutting that off within our own community. So we're following along with what everybody else is saying is beautiful, is pretty, whatever, right? I want to be with that person. But the second part of it is, unfortunately, there is some self-esteem issues that are coming from the women that are saying that, because I know that I am dark. I have not always been selected for in my community as well as out of my community. But when I decided that I was beautiful, when I decided to raise my level of self-esteem and you don't like it? Oh, okay, that has nothing to do with me. I started to attract all types of men. And it didn't have anything, it had nothing to do with my dark skin, but that's something that I had to learn. And I don't want to be light skinned. Like this is it. This is what you get. So if you have the confidence, men pick up on confidence. A lot of women don't understand that. So it's not really that he wants to even be with the other person. Whether he does or not, doesn't matter. The point is, do you love you?
Right.
If you love you, if you have the confidence within you, then you're going to attract all types of men. Like living here in San Diego, I remember when I first got here, I would get this this comments a lot from specifically Black women. And they would ask me, how are you always dating Black men here in San Diego? I'm like, because that's the type of man that I want. Like, I don't want to date anybody else. So that's the type of man that I want. That's the type of man that I attract. And they were just like, well, how is that possible? It's like, because also my belief system. I believe that a Black man is going to want me just like I want him. So if your belief system is messed up and you think that all Black men want somebody else, that's all you're going to see. That's all you're going to see.
That's what
so your belief system, your self-esteem, as well as our generational quote unquote curse, all of that is together. All of that is together. Yeah. But and it all begins with you loving you.
I've always said the most attractive thing about any woman, doesn't matter color, race, whatever, is self-confidence. If that woman is self-confident about herself, that's the most attractive thing about you can ever see in any woman. So I mean, you said right on top of the nail right there when you said self-confidence. If you're confident about yourself, you will attract the right people. You know.
So I have something to say about that, because I also think that it has a lot, and I think it is a confident thing, and I'm really glad that you said that, Marshaun. I think when you take it a step before the confidence, is that there is a vulnerability that, for me, I'll just speak for myself. I love women of all shades of color, but by and large, I have dated women more so outside my race. And one of the big things that I notice the conversations that I have with other women outside my race, there seems to be a bigger or more willingness to get vulnerable about the things that we're talking about. And I don't necessarily blame Black women for that, because we grow up in a society that, whether you want to call it or not, like, there's a subjugation of races that's going on. And I believe that Black women get the worst of it by and large in our society. So in order to kind of defend against that, I feel like my sisters have had to kind of put on an armor, so to speak, to kind of deal with this subjugation, right? And so while that is effective to do that in our society, I also believe that it doesn't create space for vulnerability that I notice that other women of other races, maybe because they don't have to deal with that subjugation, are more open to doing. And so then then it gets into that place of confidence and everything else that we're talking about. So like for me, like I just noticed that growing up a lot of times, and it was just like I would try to date my sisters and we just couldn't get there for some reason. It was just like, it's like, oh, you talk white, or it's this or it's that. And it's like,
Mike, I'm glad you brought that up.
it's like, it was like, it's like, dang, like, I don't want it to be like that,
Mike, okay, Mike.
Like,
so
Mike, go ahead.
So Michael and I grew up in the same church, right?
Okay.
And I remember one night after youth night, someone that Mike and I both know, I'm not gonna say the name publicly, said to me on our ride home, because we used to get ride homes together, said, "Man, William, you're whitewashed." Like, what are you talking about? Oh man, you talk proper, you talk white. You like white girls, don't you? Like, no, I love Black women. What makes you say that? So from there, based upon my personality, they assumed that I just like white women and that I was whitewashed because of the way I talk, which some of the girls that I may have liked in school maybe weren't checking for me, other than maybe looks, was, oh, well, he doesn't care for Black women too much. So Mike, I don't know if you got the same thing, or Terrell and Clinton may have got the same thing.
I mean, of course I got the same thing. I mean, you know, I mean, by and large, like, even like over the phone when I talk, like people think that they're talking to a white man, and then they see me and they're like, oh, he's not white, like,
surprise.
But then again, it really pisses me off, because what I really think is like, I don't talk white. I'm a well-spoken Black man. That's what I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's
right.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, Mike, because I always have the question is, what does a white person sound like? What does a Black person sound like?
Exactly.
And that's the question I always ask, is what does that sound like?
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to have this perception of because I mean, when you really listen to what people are saying, it's like, okay, well, yes, you can tell the race of a person by what they sound like. But keep in mind that Black men are also subjugated as much, I would say the same way as white women are subjugated in this world, right? That's something that I always say that we can relate to when we meet each other. That's one of the main things that I've always seen with relating to Black women. We don't talk about, I'm not saying talking about race and all that stuff and all, like being victim, but just understanding, okay, well, maybe that edge that she has is because of this. I just understand it, that just like the edge that I might have is because of my past or the way I'm subjugated, right? But I mean, it's kind of learning to break those walls down,
Yeah. And then so, Marshaun, I want to bring it back home to a question, and I want to soften all that up. Could it be that Black women, when they see a brother who's educated, who speaks proper, who's doing well, that there's a lack of confidence in that brother that could be their warrior, king, African, Mandingo, whatever you want to call it, right?
Man, you went Mandingo, like,
yeah.
Wipe the adjectives for that little rant there.
Hey,
what is it that may not attract a Black woman to a man who is what we've been describing here in this instance?
I think that a lot of it, or at least some of it, but I'm gonna say a lot of it has to do with what they've seen and what they were exposed to at their home. So if they were exposed to, the roughneck, the hard guy, then they're looking for that type of guy, even if they don't know it, even if they don't know it consciously, meaning they're looking for that type of guy that they've seen growing up, that they've seen portrayed before them. So if you weren't that type of guy, or at least exposed to like going to, places, museums, whatever, where guys, Black men talk white, if you will, then and only thing you heard was a lot of the rough talk, the cursing, the B words, the H words, all those words, being spewed at you, and you're not used to a man respecting you or, treating you with a certain type of way, but mainly with respect and loving you a certain type of way. I'm not used to you not cussing me out. I'm not used to you not smacking me, or whatever. So we go toward and move toward the people that we grew up with, whether we know it on a conscious level or not.
Absolutely. What's so funny is that, like, I find myself, especially in my adult years, looking for a woman who emulates a lot of the qualities of my mother. And it's really interesting because I remember growing up, me and my mom used to have these tips, and like I would be like, I'm never gonna like want someone like you and blah blah blah, and like whatever, but the reality of it is that, like, my mother is an amazing woman, and she has been like an amazing example of like what I should like, and my parents have been happily married for 6+ years, so like clearly something is working, right? So it's really interesting because I find myself in my adult years now that I'm like in this space where I really do want a family and I do want to be married and so on and so forth. I'm really looking for someone who really exemplifies those kind of traits, which begs my question. I really want to find out these 15 questions that you're talking about. So I know we've only
okay. So we only got to
wait.
Just run through.
Let me address something that Mike brought up earlier about the Black women in their armor.
Okay.
Because that is something that just like we were talking about, how men just in general speak harsh to their women. So Black women don't realize that that armor that they're wearing, that they're trying to protect themselves from being hurt, from all of that stuff. They don't realize that it is keeping them disconnected from a Black man specifically, or a man in general. So just like the men have to be softer to the women have to learn how to take off the armor, take off being the alpha woman inside the household, and return that place back over to the man.
Right.
So there's that competition in the household of who the man is.
Okay, so do you have the questions, T? Because I'm looking at the live audience.
Yeah.
No, live audience wants to know. They're asking on the feed.
Okay, and then we'll share it after this. We don't get all 15 questions you should ask your spouse before you get married or settle down. All right, so question number 3: what are your top insecurities? Why is that an important question?
Wait, I'm sorry, Mike.
Just go through real quick.
Go through them real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Back.
So, what are your top insecurities? And Marshaun, I'm gonna switch it back over to you at question number 7, because I didn't write all 15 down because I didn't think we was gonna get through all of them. What are your top insecurities? Number 4: when we get stuck, are we open to getting outside help? And that's whether it's a marriage counselor, our mama, the pastor, whoever. Number 5: how much alone time do you need? Number 6: how do you feel about debt? Mike would love that one.
Come on, yes. Come on. What's that credit score, baby?
All right, Marshaun, go ahead and start us off at number 7 and go through the rest of the list, and then we'll see what the audience wants.
Yeah, let's unpack it. Yeah.
Okay. So number 7 is, do you have solutions to how we can handle the conflicts? Number 8: what boundaries do you have when it comes to the opposite sex, meaning your, opposite friends, opposite sex friends? Number 9: how do you handle your anger? Number 10: are you good at apologizing? Number 11: how quick are you to forgive? Number 12: how will we make sure we have quality time together, no matter how busy each of us get? Number 13: what does faith and or spirituality mean to you?
Woo!
Number 14: how important is self-care to you? And then number 15 is, can we comfortably and openly discuss our sexual needs, preferences, and fears?
Right.
And then I have wait, because
Wow.
I have a bonus. The bonus is, do you want kids? If so, how many?
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. So
how many times did you have to go to the mountaintop to get those 15 commandments right there? My goodness. My goodness.
All right, so audience members, whatever you want to hear about more, go ahead and type it in, and Michael let us know. But what do we want to start with, fellas? What resonated with you on that list that you want to unpack there?
Mike had put up a question on
first and foremost, Marshaun, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, you're welcome.
As my lovely brothers have so eloquently put, I am the only single man in this operation. Okay, you know, and I done a lot of self-care, a lot of self-work, but I think I might need some help with that conflict resolution portion, because your boy gets a little turned up, as you can tell. So, I mean, we got, okay, so from our audience, they said number 8, 9, 12, 13, 15.
Wow, okay.
So start with number.
Hey, that's some fuego. I mean, that's some fuego right there.
Let's start with 8.
Part 2 for this.
All right, so repeat 8 for the audience, and then we'll all chime in on 8. We might not get into all of them, but we'll have you on for a second time. 8. Go. Okay. What was 8 again?
So number 8 is, what boundaries do you have when it comes to the opposite sex, your friends, your male? So you guys are guys. So what boundaries do you have for your female friends?
So I had an issue with this when I first started dating, where one of my female friends would call at 11 o'clock at night when she was
No. She a violation.
What time?
You a violation for allowing that to
11.
Hey, she slide in the DM though.
11 o'clock at night. Then you know, my girl had to have a talk with me. She's like, look,
come to Jesus moment.
She know you in a relationship, right? I was like, yeah, that's my friend. She, you know, yeah. So, needless to say, I had to chop that one off.
Well, she can call earlier, but 11 o'clock is family time or sleeping time or whatever.
So
here's time for you and your friends.
I'm now putting my business on the streets. But I tried to have that conversation with this young lady, and then she's like, I've been here. I've been a day one friend. I've been here. Like that's our friendship, right? And this like she getting between our relationship, and then so it got to the point where my girl said, either you deal with her or I will.
Yeah.
Because,
there we go.
So
the ultimatum.
But here's the thing. Your friend wasn't just your friend. She was hoping that she could be more than your friend. Which she was in violation of calling.
She's trying to elevate.
Like, stop it. And we as women, so your girl calling you on that, we already know when somebody's trying to creep in on our territory. Furthermore, your friend didn't get the title, so she need to move on out the way because you didn't give it to her for a reason.
But she never, that friend never came at me like that. She never tried to date me or anything.
Whether she tried it or not, no, she's in violation, and she knew she was.
Let me
I don't even call my married friends after 9 o'clock.
That's
right.
Been this is a question that's been relevant in my family right now is friend zone. Is there any such thing as the friend zone? When you put somebody in a friend zone, is that something that you can actually put somebody in a relationship? Because I saw Mike, he had put up a question online. He said, can you have a relationship with...
Put you on blast, Mike. Put you on blast.
I know. I've been under the bus all day. I'm used to it.
No. I saw the question.
These my brothers. It's all good. It's all love.
So are we talking about friends like opposite sex friends? I got plenty of opposite sex friends that I have no interest with, and they have no interest with me whatsoever. So I think that is possible.
When you're in a relationship, like you're married.
What just to have the friend? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So
yeah.
Right. I mean, okay. So basically, what my question was like, I was wondering, is it really a thing that like men and women, heterosexual men and women, can just be friends? You know, this is a question that I've been racking kind of my brain about just for a little while, and just wondering, like, because I have a lot of female friends, I really do, you know, and I've had my significant others like tell me like, dude, like the kind of intimacy you have with some of these women is like, yo, like what's really going on? And I'll be like, they're just my friend, like, and they really are just my friend. But what I'm really starting to ask myself, because I'm gonna be honest, like I struggle with boundaries. Like I really do. Like I don't have boundaries. I'm like, I grew up in a house where, my family really didn't have boundaries with each other because that's just the way we were raised. And so like as an adult man, I'm recognizing that, man, there's some areas that I gotta tighten up, like with these boundaries and these things that I thought, because what you're talking about, T, like I take calls at 2 a.m. from women, but that's not okay.
But you're single. But
I was doing it when I wasn't single either.
Oh,
and that's not yeah. And hey, I don't mind, I don't mind laying it out. Like Marshaun O on the show. I need, help me. I need you.
But see, here's the thing. That was the only chick that didn't tighten it up. All the rest of my female friends, they didn't like as soon as they knew I was in the relationship, they adhered accordingly. I'm no longer the single guy that's gonna go out to the club and we're gonna turn up, right? So I do think that you can have friends of the opposite sex and they really be friends. It's just you have to put those boundaries into play and understand where those boundaries are at.
Yeah, you got to stick to them for sure. You have to put them there and then stick to them because you're the only person that's in a relationship with your significant other. Hopefully. So you are the one and your significant other have to create the boundaries and make sure that the relationship stays tight around the thing that you are building. So if you're having a problem with boundaries, Mike, then you really have to basically work on saying no and sticking to your no.
Oh man, I hate no. Like I hate that word, man. In sales, girl, you know how many no's I gotta get through to get to the yes? That's just a closing yes to it. That's a closing yes
to it, Mr. Salesman.
Yeah, exactly. And we just ignore it. I'm ignore the no. Just push right through that.
Well, okay. But you have to turn that off when you're in a romantic relationship. You have to turn that off. You have to put the boundaries.
All right, Mike. Boy, bye. Give me the next number so we can get. Let's get one more number before we hit our time. What's the other number?
It was number 9. I remember. It says,
okay, go ahead.
How do you handle your anger?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Right, man.
So
tell us why it's important.
Yeah, I thought of this question because some people, again, could show up and not be their authentic self, right? So, and some people believe that if you guys argue, that's a bad thing and you're automatically going to break up, which is just not true. So if you never see how he or she handles her anger, you might be walking around with a black eye after you say I do, or holes being punched in your wall after you say I do, right? So you want to see how this person
or the silent treatment for weeks on end.
Yes. So you want to be able to see how this person is showing up when they're angry at you, when they're mad at you. Are they now getting ready to go cuddle up with somebody else because they mad at you? Like, you really want to see how they're responding, how they're showing up, and how they're reacting towards you when they're frustrated and angry with you. And also be big enough, woman enough and man enough to know that just because you have a conflict, just because you have an argument, does not mean that the relationship is over.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hey, our comments are going crazy right now. So
it's lit. Hey, it's lit, yo. It's lit, yo. We got.
Marshaun,
yes.
What was number 12? Because number 12 was a question asked.
Number 12, how will we make sure we have quality time for each other no matter how busy we get? So my answer to that is unsexy. It's unsexy, but you must schedule it in. Because the things that when we're all busy, if you don't schedule this in, then it's not going to get done. And before you know it, a month has passed, 2 months have passed, 6 months have passed, and now you guys are growing apart and you're like, who is this dude? Or who is this woman that I'm lying next to? I have no idea what they're doing, what they've been doing. Who are they texting at 2 a.m? Why they answering their phone at 2 a.m? So you really have to find time no matter what, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes at the end of each night or every other night, whatever works for you and your schedule. But you have to get it in so you guys can stay connected. So you can ward off the distance.
I wanna throw something in there because being a family man, and I know my other family men there, sometimes sexy not in season, like you got the kids going on, you got bills, and And I know you say just get it in there, but sometimes I don't want a microwave meal. I want an oven cooked meal. I want to get, you know what I'm saying? You know, so we if you talk about just getting in, okay, this is not the season right now. Let's wait till we can get a good oven cooked meal, right?
But here's the thing, Terrell. If you keep waiting, that's more and more distance. That's more and more time that you don't really realize and know your lady. So,
that hot pocket meal ain't gonna satisfy me.
I didn't. Okay, but here's the thing.
I need collard greens, chicken off the bone.
Terrell, are you going into the kitchen to help out, or are you just sitting on the couch expecting for the meal to just get made? See, quality time can happen while you guys are laughing, joking, and cutting up the vegetables and putting everything together, being playful, splashing water on each other. So it's not like you have to sit down and only get quality time face to face when you're eating. You can, as the person who has this show, can show up differently so you can get different results. So if you want that home cooked meal, then maybe you should go in the kitchen with her.
Oh, come on. Shots fired, baby.
But damn it, I brought the groceries.
Wow.
So just because you bought the groceries, now she got to be in the kitchen all by herself. Listen, again, we have to be creative because this is the busiest time that any of us have ever been with this internet and then all these smartphones that's keeping us actually more distant from our spouses and everything. So we have to find a way to put away all of this technology and shut everything down so you can spend that quality time with your partner. And here's the thing, if it's important enough for you to keep her around, then you will actually do it. And that's the bottom line. If it's important enough, you're going to do it, because all of us know anytime it's something that's important to us, something that we going to get, we do that thing. And if you want to keep your wife, if you want to keep your girl around, you got to do that thing to keep her around. And that goes the same thing for ladies. For the ladies out there, it's the same thing for you too.
Man,
but I will say this though, when that game start, and I told you this game will be 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
But you know what, Will? I'm glad that you actually brought that up, because a lot of women have to really hear what you just said. If I told you that I need to basically have tunnel vision for these 2 or 3 hours, then you need to find something else to do. That's the bottom line. You don't have to be up under your man this entire time. This could be time for you to take care of yourself, whether it's you taking a walk, taking exercise, cleaning up, talking on the phone, taking a bath, whatever it is, but find something for you to do. So when you guys come back together, neither one of you are irritated. You're actually happy that the other person has come back around in your space.
I thought you was talking about make the home cooked meal for 2 hours. I like, good Lord, 2 hours?
You know what?
That's a 3-course meal, like 4-course meal.
That's 2 meals.
Mike, we got 3 minutes left. Any questions from the audience that they're asking before we...
Honestly, the audience is they're just commenting and listening to everything that's going on. But the most important thing is, Marshaun, where can we find you? Where can we get in touch with you post show? Because I will be contacting you. There is a lead. You better take her relationship boot camp class on Facebook. I don't need the boot camp. I need the whole thing. I need a transformation. I need a village out there in the wilderness. I need to go to the mountaintop, get the next set of 15 questions. Yeah, I need all that. So
okay, to find out more, the best place to reach me is, as Terrell mentioned, which is Relationship Bootcamp 101 on Facebook, but that's my Facebook group. But also you can just go to MarshaunOlaniyan.com, which is my first and last name. Hopefully one of you gentlemen will put that in the comments. So MarshaunOlaniyan.com, and you can schedule your appointment on there for sure.
The book, I know we didn't get a chance to dive in. Where can they get the book? Where's it at? Is it available yet? What's up?
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's Reignite Your Relationship by 7X. It's on Amazon, again, under my name, Marshaun Olaniyan.
Awesome. Anything else I'm forgetting, fellas?
Well, we got 1 minute left. So
one last tip.
One last tip
For all these people in entanglement and in COVID. How they untangle?
You know what? to untangle, you really have to address everything that you already know that's going on. And you really start to write down all of the stuff, literally journal it out, just get it out of your head, all the stuff that has been plaguing your relationship, and then start to have conversations about each and every one of those topics. Not necessarily all in one night, but be able to have those conversations so you can actually start building and restructuring the intimacy within your audience, within your relationship.
All right. Well, don't log off after this show's in. We need to still do some more chatting.
Yeah.
William, take us out.
You know what? Thank you, Marshaun, for coming. You was hitting it on the nail, and
Part two.
do a 2-hour show.
We're gonna have to.
For sure.
We're gonna have
Maybe
to.
2
Okay.
hours,
Okay.
just an
Sure.
hour with Mike. But anyways, you are listening to Let's Talk About It. We had a great episode. Marshaun, we're going to have you back again for part 2 for sure. Time down the road. But you are listening to Let's Talk About It. We see you next Tuesday, same time, same place, with the same people. God bless. Peace out.